Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over the upcoming pattern. It's going to be chilly in eastern United States over the next week or so, but it should warm up around next week, and then it's going to be mild in the western United States, and that mild air will just continue to spread further and further to the east. It'll also be quite dry, especially if you live in the northern half of the U.S., while in parts of the southeast and the south central United States, it actually will be quite active with a lot of rain and storminess over the next couple of days. So here's what the current National Weather Service page looks like. As you can see, we have some red flag warnings in parts of the southwest. We have some freeze warnings and frost advisories in parts of eastern Idaho as well. We have more freeze warnings up for western and northern Michigan, and then we have some winter weather advisories and some winter storm warnings up for a little bit of southeastern Wyoming and northeastern Colorado, with some flood watches in effect for southern Louisiana and southern Mississippi as well. Yesterday we had a high temperature through three areas, all in southern Texas. Del Rio, Texas, Falcon Lake, Texas, and Zapata, Texas all got up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit, and the low temperature was in Peterson's, Utah, where they got down to just 6 degrees Fahrenheit. The highest precipitation or rainfall report was in Montgomery Township, Illinois, where they got 2.62 inches of rain reported yesterday. And the highest snowfall report was 8 miles east-northeast of Baylor, Montana, where they got 2.7 inches of reported snowfall yesterday. So here's what the European ensemble model is showing for the temperature anomalies. If you don't know what a temperature anomaly is or what that really signifies, it's basically just the difference between what your average is. So let's say your average temperature is 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and on the screen you see maybe a -7 or a -8. That would indicate that you're seeing an actual temperature of around 63 or 64 or 62 degrees. So it's all based on what your average is, and then that number is just signifying how above or below normal the temperatures are. So for example, this area in the blue, the green, the purple, that's all below normal, so that's where it's going to be colder than normal. In the orange and the reds, what you see along the west coast and also up in Canada, that's where you're actually going to be above normal, and that's where you're going to be warmer than what is normal. And then of course, the deeper the shades are, that's the more intense that cold or warm air actually is. So this would be for tomorrow. You can see how we actually have a really widespread area of cold air, which spans from the Rockies all the way to the East Coast, with only a few exceptions in parts of the Gulf Coast and areas around the Gulf Coast, and then also along the West Coast. So those are the only two areas that for tomorrow look to escape all that cold air. Here to be by Wednesday. Still dealing with some cold air, not as widespread. You're seeing that warm air start to push a little bit further to the east, and it is actually warming up in places like California, Oregon, and Washington. This is all in Celsius, so of course you would have to do the conversion over to Fahrenheit, but this is just a good tool to see generally where the colder and warmer temperatures are going to be. And what you're going to see is that we're going to have more of that warm air start to approach from the northern and western United States and kind of encroach on the blue and green, which would signify the cold air, and eventually by next week we'll actually have some warmer temperatures reaching all the way probably to the East Coast. So here would be what we're expecting for Thursday of this week, and you can see those warmer temperatures getting even more widespread through the northern and western United States. By the way, at the same time, we might even be dealing with a little bit of snow if you live up in the Rockies, but again, that would be restricted mainly to the higher elevations, but it's still just very interesting how we're still seeing some snow events in those areas. The cold air, though, still hanging on for a large portion of the country. If you go pretty much anywhere east of the Rockies, except for parts of the northern plains, we're dealing with below normal temperatures in many of these areas, and even significantly below normal in some of these areas. Here will be by Friday. And you can see the warm air definitely pushing a little bit further to the south and east. So you can see pretty much the entire northern United States, even into parts of New England, are above normal. And so is much of the area from the Rockies westward. They're also below normal. But you go east of there and south of there, and these areas are still going to be below normal. So still chilly if you live in through the central or eastern United States for the most part. Here will be by Saturday. And now we're starting to see this warm air even approach into areas like the plains. So you can actually see that areas like Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, Minnesota now starting to get in on some of the warmer temperatures, but the below normal temperatures still lingering on for pretty much that same exact area and through the eastern United States. But you can definitely tell how that warm air is quickly approaching some of these areas. Here to be by Sunday. You can see that warm air. That warm air is actually overtaking a little bit further to the east. Maybe a little cold air re-entering the western United States, and that cold air in the eastern United States also starting to dissipate. So it looks like areas through the Mississippi River Valley, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast now starting to be a little bit closer to normal, or even a little bit above normal in some of those areas. So we're definitely starting to break through all that cold air that was in place. And then if we look at for Monday, which would complete the 7-day outlook, you can see that we actually do start to see a lot more warm air in through the northern United States, and then that cold air strictly confined to the southeastern United States and also parts of the western United States. So it pretty much flipped from what we were dealing with in the beginning of the video and the start of this week to what we're going to be dealing with maybe at the start of next week. And then if you were to go and even play this out a little bit further out, you would see that probably by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday timeframe, even parts of the southeast might start to get in on some of the warmer temperatures. But that would again be for next week, and we still have this week of chillier temperatures for much of us to get through before we get to those warmer than normal temperatures. Here's what the actual low temperatures look like, and this is going to be really useful if you are on a farm or you have a garden that you need to kind of watch out for your plants, because we will have a couple of threats for frost and freezes here over the next couple of days. You can see that anywhere that's pretty much along that very kind of white color, or even the very light red color or the very light blue color, that's where you're between about 35 and about 28 or 29 degrees. So that's right in that zone right there is where you want to be watching out for potential frosts and freezes, especially if you're getting into more of that light red type of color, which you can see for parts of the northern plains. So that area definitely you would be wanting to watch out for probably a hard frost or maybe even a freeze in some of these areas. So there is quite a bit of issues in terms of frost and freezes, especially even though it's early May already, there are still some issues with frost and freezes, especially into the northern United States. You're going to see that would be for tomorrow. Here's for Wednesday, warming up through the northern plains. So not as chilly, maybe not even any frost or freeze concerns up there, where it's going to be in the upper 30s or low 40s, just barely above what you would classify as frost criteria. But as you move into the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, that's why they have those freeze warnings up for western and northern Michigan, because we are dealing with temperatures potentially getting down closer to 30 to 35 degrees. And then as you get further to the south, less of an issue for plants and gardens that you might have outside your house, but more of just a concern with it being cold outside when you're waiting for the bus stop or when you're just going to work in the morning. So it will just be generally chilly, even if you don't have any plants or crops to tend to. So it's overall just going to be a chilly work week, and then again probably by next week is when it starts to warm up. Still quite chilly, not as cold for Thursday. If we continue this forward a little bit more, here's by Friday of this week, and you can see that really no frost or freeze concerns over much of the United States, except for if you live in the Rockies, and again there aren't many plants or farms in that area. But for much of the United States, we have temperatures that are going to be in the 40s and 50s for low temperatures on Friday. So frost and freeze concerns are at a minimum for these areas by this point. Here to be by Saturday, and you can see that even warming up quite considerably through the central United States, where we actually have some low temperatures in the 50s and 60s, which is actually quite warm for this time of year. Still a little bit chilly in the eastern United States, but you will kind of get used to it with how cold it has been recently as well. And then again, eventually those warmer temperatures are going to continue to progress to the east. So you can see that we have those warmer temperatures overtaking parts of the south central United States, even into the northern plains, even though that does look maybe a little bit chilly into the low 40s for that area. That is actually a few degrees above normal. So we are starting to get into a little bit of more of a warmer pattern in those areas by Sunday. And then here's Monday of this upcoming next week. We're dealing with those warmer temperatures into parts of the central and northern United States, so mainly through this area, and then still lingering on for parts of the southeast. But even in that area, having a low temperature in the upper 50s or low 60s, still definitely manageable, and I would definitely take that any day of the week over the 30s and 40s that many of you guys have been dealing with. Here's the 6 to 10 day outlook, and this is really good news for those of you who like the warmer temperatures, because this is taking you from the 15th through the 19th, and we're dealing with above normal temperatures that are forecasted anywhere in this orange region, which covers much of the central and northern United States, except for the immediate west coast and also into parts of the southeast. And if we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, even that does look quite promising, and even a little bit more promising than the 6 to 10 day outlook. This is from the 17th through the 23rd, and you can see that huge area, which covers pretty much the entire United States from the Rockies eastward. You can see that's where we're dealing with above normal temperatures, and it looks like the center zone, or the most above normal temperatures, will be happening within this kind of deeper orange shade through parts of anywhere from about Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska eastward to parts of the northeast. So that's generally the zone where it's going to be the most above average, probably into next week. So again, we only have to go through one more week of chillier temperatures, then it looks like it's going to be nice and warm for much of the United States. And if you look at the 3 to 4 week outlook, this looks very, very nice, and this would be from the 22nd through June 4th, and you can see that no area on this map has below normal. There are only 2 pockets of equal chances or near normal conditions that are expected, and the rest of the area that's shaded in orange is expecting to be above normal. So really, really nice, and definitely nothing that's really too worrying in terms of the temperatures. As we get into the longer range, this is going to be the only the next week in the only weeks that we really have to worry about these chillier temperatures. And also, if you like those drier conditions, which I definitely do, we're not going to be dealing with too much rainfall. This is going over the next 7 days through Monday of next week. If you live in the northern United States especially, so through here, not much rainfall, maybe up to an inch if you live in the Central Plains. It's more into the southeast where we're dealing with a widespread 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. And even that, most of that is happening today, tomorrow, and even into Wednesday. After that, it does look like even this area is going to calm down with the rainfall. So after that first initial round of heavy rainfall, looks like it'll be dry, and then potentially by the weekend is when we might be dealing with this rainfall start to appear because of a storm that's going to pop up from parts of the central United States and head into the eastern United States. So other than that, looks like the next week is going to be very, very nice. We have one more week of not so nice conditions to go through before we get to that nice week next week. So definitely I'm going to be looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys will as well. Please leave a like on this video, consider subscribing, and of course always turn on post notifications so you never miss another upload. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.